I did it again. I jumped the gun again. I was so excited. I hit the button, killed the intro. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a Wednesday episode of The Lock Shop. Look, Huss, it's game day. Not here in Edmonton, but it's game day for Edmonton, and everybody's excited.
You're jumpy. Everyone's fired up. Lots of excitement out west in Edmonton and certainly in Las Vegas. So we'll cut you some slack on having an itchy trigger finger to get right into the lock shop with picks for tonight. Yeah, what a wild before we
Last
even get
night,
to tonight,
yeah.
What a wild way to start things off. I have to say, called that Florida-Toronto game pretty good last night.
Yes, you did. I thought we were going to get the over two. That puck right between Bobrovsky's legs looked like it was going to be a 4-3 game, but he managed to keep it out. But good call on the money line start there, buddy. That was big. Huge.
Well, you know what? And unfortunately, I got burned on, I had a parlay as well with Dallas. And, a lot of the things that I said about Florida carrying that momentum from game 7 in happened with the Seattle Kraken.
Yep.
Listen, this team is certainly overachieving everybody's expectations. The win against the Colorado Avalanche was something that nobody had in their brackets. Nobody had predicted. Not very many people betted, I'm sure. But, man, they seem to be – it's weird, man. In National Hockey League playoff hockey, you get a team that has some good things go their way. They win in incredibly tough situations, and they just get going from there. And they obviously had a lot of momentum, but they showed their resiliency last night. That was the thing. Listen, this Joe Pavelski story, him coming back from injury and scoring 4 goals, devastating loss for Dallas to waste a performance like that. Really a legendary playoff performance. But there's Yanni Gourde, one of those old Tampa guys that always seem to be making things happen in the playoffs, scoring an ultimate overtime goal too, eh? A rebound out there, just sort of the puck, whack it in, perfectly off the bar down in. And that was what it was going to take, I think, to beat Ottinger after the first period.
Yeah, he pretty much had to. He locked it down after that first period. That first period was just a shit show. I'm sitting here. I had the 5.5, under the 5.5. I also had that parlay that I boosted up to 6.5 and took the under. And I'm watching the 6 goals in the first period. Like the fact that the Kraken came out and did what they did in the first period. I was texting with the boys on the Two Guys in the Goalie podcast, and early in that game when Dallas came out flying, Cass texted. He goes, "This thing's gonna be like 5-6 games at the most." And then the Kraken just found a way to get back in. I would have never thought in a million years that game would have hit the over in the first period. And I don't know, I'm still not sure. Is that what this series is? Or has this series become what we thought it was in a steady diet of unders and 3-2s, Huss? Or does last night change your opinion of where this thing's headed?
Well, Dallas can score. And I don't know whether we should overreact too much at the fact that the Seattle Kraken scored 3 goals in a minute. Do we think that's happening again? I wouldn't wager that it is. But the one thing is, I think people, myself included, maybe not giving the Kraken enough credit. They don't have the star power of some of these other teams, but the way they play and the way they built seems to be made for the playoffs. And so much of it comes down to goaltending. And Grubauer, despite giving up 4, made some big saves. The one thing I'll say, and why I'm still feeling good about the Dallas pick for the series, although losing at home complicates the -1.5 bet to have it happen in 6 or less, is that I think that was a blip for Jake Ottinger. I think Ottinger was, basically got caught off guard a little bit, but we saw the way he played in the rest of the game. I think he'll be there. I still think Dallas, and actually while we're at it, I know Jake's going to come on with us right away. What is the updated number? Do we have an updated number on that Dallas series right now?
Let's take a quick peek here. I was on the golf page. Let me take a look.
Here we are here. We got, so it's basically a pick'em now.
Pick'em now, yep.
Dallas at -110. And remember, Dallas was -204 at the beginning. So if you still have faith that the Dallas Stars are going to be the team, now is a great time to get in on it. You're getting twice as good of a number. But again, you're starting in a bit of a hole. That game 2 is going to be real important for the Stars, though, because if the Kraken somehow find a way to win that and then go home for game 3 and 4, not that home ice has been a damn thing so far in the playoffs, but it did last night. That will be, I mean, it will be crazy there in Seattle. I can't imagine how excited they are. This is a team that's playing with house money, and when you're playing house money, you're dangerous.
It's always fun to play with the house money, isn't it? It's a little bit riskier than you would be at some other times. All right, let's bring in Jake. We talked about that Kraken game. We dove into the Leafs Panthers just a little bit, but Jake might be a better guy to bring in on this. Jake, how you doing today, buddy?
Not as bad as I usually am after game 1 losses, but I'm all right. I mean, it's tough, but you kind of, they're going to lose a game at some point. Unfortunately, it had to be the first one. And in a game where it felt like they probably could have won, it just felt like Florida was capitalizing on their chances more than Toronto was. But a lot of good scoring chances early on. And then, as they kind of got the power play looked really good. And it was just like, find a way to get pucks past Bob. Obviously, he's looked super impressive and has found a way to get them to where they are now. So, little adversity never hurt no one. I'm feeling all right. I'm a little frustrated with the Leaf fans online who are just like, oh, the reason we're not acting up like we usually do is because we're still in shock. It's like, no, we're in the second round. No one should be in shock at this point. It should just be like, this is where we're supposed to be and time to act like it, like. It's an act like you've been here before, even though we really have.
Well, you know what? I mean, Jake, from my perspective, we talked about it yesterday. I thought that the way Florida had to win their series, going through the grind of, coming back against Boston and winning it overtime and having really no time to even think about it, to get right back to it, going right in, actually was an advantage for Florida. I thought they played with a lot of the momentum and the confidence they had from that Boston series. And, you would think that with a little bit of time off in the home game that it was an advantage, but I'm not really sure that it was for the Leafs last night. And combined with the fact that home teams seemingly can't win hockey games right now in the playoffs, I think that was a real tough spot for the Leafs. But by no means do I think that people should be jumping off the wagon there, but they got to get it done in game 2. And I have a feeling that they probably will. They're a big favorite at -176 to get that done.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to last series, right? It's like you lose game 1, and not in the fashion they lost game 1 against Tampa, but you lose game 1 and you got to come back and win a big game 2, and then you're going to what you're going to be your second home likely in Florida. I know they're pretending like they're not going to let Canadians in the building. Guess what? Canadians are getting in the building. And you know what? The whole home team, away team thing is a little concerning because I think most of these games are going to feel like home games for the Leafs. I don't know. I thought the crowd was fairly loud when the Leafs scored in Tampa. I had a buddy down there. He said it was about maybe 70-30, but I feel like in Florida, we might be seeing some 50-50, if not more in the Leafs' favor. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that whole thing, and it is overblown, the team not wanting to sell tickets out. I mean, not to take a unnecessary shot at Leaf fans who haven't been to the second round in 19 years, but this is not anything new. Nashville did it to the Jets in the conference finals. I mean, I get that team want to fill it up with their own fans, but once you get to StubHub and things, I mean, they're not checking IDs for where you live when you get to the rink. Do you know a lot of people? I mean, do you have some buddies and guys that are figuring out a way how to get down? Because the irony of it is that the flight to Sunrise and the ticket in Florida is probably about what it would cost you just to get in the door at Scotiabank Arena.
Yeah, I've got some buddies talk about it in group chats like, hey, boys, let's get down there. But, and I'm sure you guys either have touched on this, I missed the front half of the start of this episode, but the scheduling is insane. We expected a Saturday game for game 3, and the fact that we're getting 2 Sunday games, I think, is the possibility, depending on how it all plays out. Like, it's out of control. Like, how do you end up with a Sunday Leafs Panthers game at 6:30, and then I think they go Sunday, like Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, or something crazy. Like if that's how it goes. But
I get they're not wanting to have 2 Miami teams play playoff games at the same time.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I get that, but at the same time, it's like who cares about the Miami Heat?
Well, that's the problem though, is that so many more people down there care about the Miami Heat, right? Like, yeah.
But the Leafs play on Saturday night. The Leafs have always played on Saturday night. It's absurd we're not getting one Saturday night game in the entire second round. And I'm mad. I'm more mad because it's thrown off some other plans that I had planned out for my birthday and stuff. So I know it's a little like.
I love it.
This is one of the greatest.
The world revolves around me.
This is one of the great all-time.
People are mad. People are actually mad.
Entitled Leaf fan rants we've ever had on this program. And I say that from someone in Winnipeg, where the Jets are lucky if we get on Hockey Night in Canada.
That's right.
Like 2 or 3 times a year. If it's a Saturday game, oh yeah, you're playing Ottawa at 2. I mean, so hey, it's a better weekend. You got a Friday game, you got all day to get ready for Sunday, and heck, if you are making the trip down, it's just a better excuse to spend an extra day down in Florida.
Well, hey, and now if you like the Leafs to win the series, plus 104. Getting plus money on the Leafs to win this series at plus 104. So it could be worse, Jake. It could be worse. We're gonna get to some golf in a second, but 2 games in the NHL tonight. Are you on anything in the 2 games tonight as the other 2 series get fired up?
Yeah, what's your feel on Jersey, Carolina? This is a real tough one, and the closest odds on the entire board in the second round.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I have a good read on Carolina being the better team in this series, but then I look at the odds to win the series, and Jersey's a slight favorite.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like, it feels like I'm missing something. Like I know obviously Schmid was unreal for the Devils in that series against the Rangers, and obviously probably ended up being the reason they made it through that one. But I think just team defense in terms of Carolina has been super impressive. Obviously, I don't know if the Islanders are like a massive team that I'd look at Carolina beating the Islanders and being like, wow, you know what? Like, that's a good win for them. But I don't know. Just something about Carolina. I think they're just built a little bit better. Obviously, there's some injuries on that end.
That's the key. I think that's why the odds are what they are. I mean, you're already without Svechnikov and Pacioretty, and then you add Teravainen to the mix. I think there's just a concern that they might not be able to score the goals. And at the same time, recency bias is a thing. Everyone saw what Jersey was able to do to New York Rangers, another really good team with elite goaltending, better than Carolina's, winning 4 of 5 to make it out of the first round.
Yeah, listen, I jumped on the Hurricanes to win the series. I think it was like plus whatever it was, 104.
Small number, yeah. Yeah.
I just think that there's a little bit more experience there. And I know people like to say, oh, you know, experience isn't always a good thing, but I think the deeper you get in the playoffs, the experience does matter. And Jersey's just like, they've been super impressive, but they're 1 loss away from not even being here, right? So I don't know. I lean Carolina personally on that one. Listen, I don't want to root for the Oilers. I want to be petty and a petty like Toronto Maple Leafs fan, but I also have hated the Golden Knights since they made the finals in their first year as a team. So I'm fine with taking the Oilers here over the Knights in the second round, and then we can discuss. Hopefully, Dusty and I can go a little back and forth with some conference final stuff if we can get that far.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't lock anything in there for the Oilers Knights series wise. I wouldn't be surprised if the Knights pick up the first one. I think just playing in Vegas is a big deal, and it's playoffs, so we're not going to see like the old Vegas flu like we usually do. But this team has proven playoff success. They beat Colorado a few years back. I remember in a series where I think Colorado blew them out in game 1, and then they kind of just smothered them. And it's weird. I don't really think of a Vegas as like this really impressive, like defensively sound team. We don't know what's going on with the goaltending, but you know, they took care of Winnipeg pretty good, and we saw some injuries and stuff in there that didn't help your Jets, Huss. I think it'll be a good series between Edmonton and Vegas. But I think overall, I think you guys were talking about it yesterday, the top heavy Edmonton probably finds a way to get through it, 6 or 7, and then and then they're looking at the Western.
It's funny you mentioned that Colorado series because that's exactly what happened in the Winnipeg game. I mean, Winnipeg series. The Jets played maybe their best game in a couple of years in game number one on the road. The first period of game two, they looked even better. And then they got punched in the mouth by a deep team that was ready to play playoff hockey. So it should be a good one. Just speaking of, your grind for Vegas, do you have a bone to pick with the Seattle Kraken, who have already won more second round games than the Leafs have in 20 years in their second year of existence?
Yeah. Can you imagine a Vegas Seattle Western Conference final? Like, I don't know if that's like, I don't know if the league, like maybe the league loves something like that. That would drive me absolutely off the wall. Like, especially with the heartbreak that I've like obviously cried about for whatever 20 years. But
Your life.
yeah, I mean, Seattle, like, I guess you got to tip your cap, right? Like, they're doing it without their 40-goal scorer, and it's kind of like win by committee, which I feel like we rarely see in the NHL. Obviously, you do have the guys who kind of step up as heroes and stuff, but it's truly a win by committee. I think they had like all 5 of their goals came from 5 different players last night, if I have that right. Like, they're just doing it across the board, and it's some strong defensive, strong offense from the defense, and then they find a way to get it. Like, the goal they scored in overtime was nothing crazy, but that's an NHL overtime.
Yeah, it's a mad scramble, right?
That's what you see in the NHL.
Yeah,
it's like one bounce, boom, Yanni Gourde unassisted back in the net, and they're winning game one. I don't know. I still believe in Dallas. I jumped on the -1.5 with both of you yesterday. Obviously, we got tight on that one, but like you said, and I heard you guys say it just before I jumped on here, might be a great time to grab Dallas. If you really believe in this team, and Ottinger, I know you guys are both behind Ottinger. I think Dallas finds a way to squeak this one out against Seattle. I don't want to believe that Seattle's going to beat Colorado and then Dallas to get to the conference final. It seems shocking to me.
Tell you what, tough look for the Central Division if that happens.
Big time tough look for the Central Division too. That's for sure. Hey, we got big tournament this week on the PGA Tour after a couple of slower weeks here. Jake, are you on anything personally, or do you guys have some exclusives up that people can hop on board with here?
Yeah, let's talk exclusives. I'm not personally a huge golf bettor like Patty is, so I don't want to kind of speak at a turn.
Fair enough.
In terms of what I'm playing in terms of the Wells Fargo this week, but we have a ton of stuff up. Obviously, our usual Pendrith stuff. I think we have a winner, top 5, top 10, top 20, and to make the cut. So those all should be boosted under our exclusive section. And then some Canadian stuff. So we have Connors, Hadwin, both to finish top 20. That's 20-1. We have a number of Canadians to make the cut at 2.5. The over on that is -147. And then we have all Canadians to make the cut. I believe there's 5 in the field, plus 1,800. So 18-1 there. And then a few other things. Thomas and Spieth, both top 10 at plus 950. Hovland, Morikawa, and Im, top 20 at plus 1,100. And we have the Greggy Golf Special, of course. He's got Cam Young, Victor Hovland, both.
I love 20. This. I'm betting it as we speak right now. I've just seen it for the first time.
What's that number? What's that number?
Plus 365 for Cam Young and Vic Hovland to both be top 20. I am in on that. And I think we're probably going to talk about these guys.
Once we get to our picks, you're going to realize we're in on that one for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Listen, Pat's pretty dialed into the golf, so that's why I don't want to get in here and be like, oh yeah, like just start naming guys. But yeah, a ton of great exclusives that we got, and even when you go to the Wells Fargo section, we have some other stuff. I think top Canadians in there.
Yeah,
obviously our usual winner, top 5, top 10, top 20. So ton of options, and I know Huss always talks about it, and you guys always talk about it. We usually have the best number you can find out there. So if you're betting golf, you need to be betting with us with Coolbet. It's a great spot, and obviously you guys cash in on basically it feels like weekly when it comes to when we get into the big tournaments.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice. That'd be real good. Weekly, that would be.
That's what it feels like every time like a Sunday rolls around after like a big golf weekend, and I'm getting like Coolbet Canada Twitter notifications. Dusty's like, Another win. Am I gonna have a job one day?
We've been doing pretty well lately, so
every week.
yeah,
Well,
we've been working okay.
It was a good thing we didn't have our normal Wednesday show last week, because I guarantee you
He would have been on Finau for sure.
More than just my card. We were going out to do it. And by the way, just before we get into our pick, Jake, great new look of the exclusive page, packing a lot into that. So whoever was behind that, very user friendly and easy way to sort of compare them all on one site or on one page right when you're looking at it.
Yeah, that's our boy Matt Hall, Hot Dog, as he's known on Twitter.
Hot Dog.
He does all our curling odds. In the curling space, he's known as Hot Dog because that's his Twitter handle. But yeah, Maddie had the idea and we loved it, and that's what we're going with now. So you'll see there's one title. It's like Coolbet NHL Daily Exclusives, and then it'll list out whatever we have for the day. So 5, 6 NHL exclusive Blue Jays. I was just gonna say one more thing. Oh, we were chatting yesterday. We have our exclusive sheet that everything gets pulled from, and we update and stuff on a daily basis. And we were doing our profit loss for April, and then the one bookie messaged me, the guy who usually puts it together for us, and he's just like, "Lock Shop is insane, man." I think you guys had a huge last month was huge for the Lock Shop partner parlays. So yeah, you guys find a way. That's why people come and listen, and I'm sure we'll have some stuff this week as well. I assume we'll get a ride with Dusty. Just send us.
I'll fire you a text here probably around noon, and we'll get something out there. I had some people texting in my show this morning and be like, "Dusty, you have an exclusive at Coolbet later today?" I said, "Of course I have an exclusive at Coolbet later today." So yeah, excellent, buddy. Well, good catching up with you, Jake. See you later, man.
Enjoy.
There you go.
Jake.
Man, that's as good of endorsement for the Lock Shop as you're going to get when the bookies are doing the plus minus sheet and are like, God, the Lock Shop is killing us.
And I'll give you a lot of credit, especially from the first round. I mean, I'll give also Draisaitl and McDavid a lot of credit.
Yes.
But if you've been riding with the Lock Shop, riding with Dusty, you've been doing quite well. Just before we get to our picks, because we won't have time to do this, there are a bunch of Jays exclusives tonight. Manoah to record 5+ strikeouts to the Jays win plus 220. A Chapman or Vlad homer tonight is plus 160. And a couple of cool hockey ones tonight from both games. But the old forgot about Draisaitl to score and Oilers to win plus 210.
Such a good number.
In the Coolbet exclusives, and a little later on, you'll probably see a ride with Dusty popping up for this game tonight.
That plus 210 for the Oilers to win and Draisaitl to score. I mean, if the Oilers win, Draisaitl. If you like the Oilers on the money line, you might as well go hop on the ride with Dry because
he scores every game.
He scores every game. All right, so let's get in. Let's just stick with. We're already on that game, so let's stick with that game. Edmonton money line minus 120. We're both on it. We'll have the exclusive up a little bit later, so make sure you find that in the exclusive section there at Coolbet. Huss, the Oilers have lost 6 consecutive game ones, and I think Vegas has lost 4 of their last 5 game ones. So something has to give here tonight. The Oilers, I mean, their power play in the playoffs is almost as good as the Golden Knights penalty kill. I think it's 56 to 58% or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. However, Vegas does take the fewest penalties in the National Hockey League. So that's something that could factor into the series as well. But, Vegas, we saw Stone leave the ice in practice. I'm sure he's going to play, but it didn't look good yesterday. His back looked all sort of stiffened up. Their blue line has been a little banged up. The others are coming in pretty much as healthy as you can be here. I mean, if you're going to win a game one at some point in the series, I think it's tonight for the Oilers against the Golden Knights. Where do you come out on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is a real tough one, but I do remember how the Jets went in and kind of caught Vegas off guard. I don't think they'll be caught off guard by McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers tonight, but the big thing, and this was newsy yesterday, and I'm surprised that maybe this hasn't adjusted the numbers a bit more. We'll find out how Mark Stone is. Mark Stone is going to be so important in this series. We saw him leave practice early yesterday, obviously in some discomfort. This is a guy that's coming off of back surgery. And if he's not there, that really, really hampers, I think, their ability to counter what the high-powered Edmonton offense is. I mean, listen, when it comes down to it, we kind of laid it out. I think this is going to be tight. The odds say that this is going to be tight. But in tight games, I'm going to lean on the elite players to make it happen. And I think that the Kings series was a great preparation for Vegas from an Edmonton standpoint. So, I mean, won't be a huge play tonight, but I mean, we're on Edmonton to win the series. They got to win one at home. May as well get right on it and do like the other teams that won their last series, kind of build off their win, not necessarily in game 7 and game 6, and make something happen. But the power play, and listen, the Jets the power play goals that they scored were weird. And again, when you're talking about a number like that,
in a short span, right?
One was a weird shot by Blake Wheeler. The other one was that puck that went like 20 feet above the net, and Pietrangelo whacked at it, and it somehow went into the net. I mean, listen, the Jets weren't whipping it around like Edmonton was on the power play, that's for sure, especially after Scheifele and Morrissey were out. But the Edmonton power play is just on an absolute another level than pretty much anything we've seen in the league for a long, long time. It's a big reason why I like them. And it's going to be incumbent on Vegas to stay out of the box as they've been good. But I think with the speed and the attack of Edmonton, that's easier said than done. So listen, let's get off to a good start for these Oilers series bets with a win tonight, money line -120, and a big question mark as to how healthy Mark Stone will be tonight and what he's going to be able to deliver for Vegas.
Big Uke on the YouTube chat says Draisaitl is literally free money right now. That's basically that's what he's been so far in the playoffs. So yeah, you can bet him separately. You want to put him with the Oilers to win tonight, +210 over in the exclusive section. Now I'm on Carolina tonight, money line -112. You're going to get on the Devils here. Huss, I'm a little nervous about this considering what we watched last night with the Panthers, and obviously there's a case here for the Devils. Carolina's had a little bit of time off. The reason I'm going to get on Carolina here is I wonder if it takes the Devils a little bit of time to adjust from playing the Rangers type of game to Carolina's type of game. And if they do that early, they very well could end up winning this hockey game. But I just think Carolina might be able to come out early in this game and kind of stick it to the Devils in a way that the Rangers couldn't. It's going to be a long series. I took it over 6.5, but I guess I'm going to go with Carolina bucking the trend here tonight that we've seen from these other teams riding the momentum coming out of the previous series.
Yeah, no, and I'm going to take New Jersey. Listen, we saw what happened to the teams that won Game 7 in the fashion that they did in the first round of their next series. Carolina's been waiting the longest of any of these teams, and I think Jersey is absolutely feeling it right now. And considering they're riding a hot goalie right now, I think it's great that they're getting right back at it tonight. Again, this is pretty much a pick-em, but I think that the Jersey Devils have something going on right now. They're in some ways playing with house money, but I think they realize they've got a real opportunity to win against a depleted Carolina team. We're going to see who's going to come along with Sebastian Aho now that all their other big guns are out injured right now. I like Jersey in this one. I think they've got a good chance to win the series, and no better way to build off that big Game 7 win than drawing first blood in Carolina in the second round.
All right, so that's the story tonight in the National Hockey League, but it's good to be betting golf again. A couple of tournaments that not great fields. We were busy with the first round of the playoffs, but an excellent field shaping up here at the Wells Fargo Championship. And there he is, Tony Finau at 17-1 on the card, leading the way for Huss.
Listen, Tony did it last week. I was pumped. I was only like 7-1 because, of course, it was a pretty light field, but he did go toe-to-toe with John Rahm, who is the best player in the world. And John Rahm had the shortest number I've ever seen in a full field golf tournament at +275, set the course record with a 61. Tony looked so good throughout those 4 days. And there he was later on that night, walking a golf course, caddying for his kids. He's just the best, but he's feeling it right now, man. He's got 4 wins in the last 9 months. And I'll be honest, if he hadn't won last week, this might not be a course that I'd bet on him. He doesn't have a great course history. But I think of the way he won in Minneapolis last year and then went right into Detroit, I think at the Rocket Mortgage, and won again back-to-back. When Tony Finau gets hot, and make no mistake, he is hot. If you saw some of those putts and chips he was holding on Sunday, he's a tough guy to beat. So he was an auto bet. I started it off. But the other 2 guys I'm going in, Cam Young is so due to win on the PGA Tour. He's been close, lost in the finals of the match play. And, of course, this is a top field, elevated event. I would have loved a number better than 20-1, to be honest with you. But I think this just speaks to how many people think that not only where his game is at, but that he is going to knock on the door and knock it down very, very soon. So I'm going to jump on Cam Young at 20-1. And then the other number, and again, this has gone down now since I bet it to 22-1. But considering the course history of Justin Thomas at Quail Hollow, pretty hard not to jump on a 25-1 number. As I said, it's now 22-1. JT, his irons are good. His putting has been absolute dog shit for the better part of the last month or so. He's had a little bit of time off. He didn't play last week. I'm sure that's exactly what he's been doing. And if he can get back and get the putter going again, he's going to contend and he will be in the mix. And this, in some ways, does feel like the exact sort of tournament that Justin Thomas can remind everyone, hey, I'm JT. I'm one of the best players in the world. And oh, by the way, I'm really, really good at this golf course. So I couldn't resist a JT 25-1 sprinkle right now. Fino was a bit of a FOMO. He's playing hot right now. I was going to put him on the card. And Cam Young is a guy I'll probably have a couple times more on my card till he finally gets it done.
Yeah.
I think he's going to very, very much be in the mix come the PGA Championship and some of the other majors coming up right now. But that's where I'm at with the card. And I'll tell you what, I thought long and hard about the guy at the top of your card, which makes me that much more excited to bet the Greggy Golf Special with Young and Vic Hove, both in the top 20.
Top 20. When I heard that, I was like, what? Say that again? Give us that number. What was it? Plus 365 for Hovland and Cam Young. Look, I'm with you. I've been on Cam Young already a couple of times this year. And yeah, he's going to be one of those guys that we've had in the past where it's like, okay, well, this is the week. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And we want to be on it when it does happen. Vic Hovland, this course at Quail Hollow is made for this guy's game. I mean, the one area of concern a little bit with his game, not even a little bit, pretty significantly, is the play with his wedges right around the green, right? Like that's something that has been a little bit of a concern. But outside of that, this guy has been automatic. He's ascending towards being one of the top players in the world. And this has been a course that I think a lot of people have thought he would eventually get a victory on here, Huss. This just shapes up very nicely for him this week. So when you were like, oh, Hovland, I was like, perfect, because I'm on this guy as well. If you just look at some of the numbers of what he's been able to do so far this year, he ranks in his last 24 rounds. This is the last 24 rounds. He's second in the field in strokes gained off the tee, ninth in strokes gained approached, and seventh in proximity from 200 yards or more. So this guy has essentially been absolutely dialed in, and this is a course that fits his game very well. So at 22-1, I'm surprised it wasn't actually a little bit of a worse number. I guess that's why we say Coolbet gives you some of the best odds. So Hovland at 22-1, by far my favorite play. Yeah.
And it's the field.
Yeah, it's
and
a good
you've
field.
got Rory. And Rory, again, Rory's plus 750. Again, he said that he took that tournament off for some mental health. He wasn't in a great spot after the Masters. Rory owns this course. And that is a reason why he's at plus 750, which is very, very low considering an elevated event. But everybody else, Cantlay second. But I'm with you. I mean, I think Vic Hovland and Cam Young, I mean, should really probably be like right there with Cantlay and those other guys. I get why Rory's the favorite, but I'm certainly not betting him at that number considering what we've seen. But much like JT, Rory's another guy that's done great at this course before, and it might be a perfect time for him to get back and get hot.
Yeah, just quickly on Rory, just to back up what Huss is saying here. He's won at Quail Hollow 3 times stretched out over a decade, 2010, 2015, 2021, 9 top 20s in 10 tournament appearances here. So, 10 tournament appearances. So, I mean, he's been absolutely terrific this course. So that's why he's at the number that he's at. The other two guys I'm going to get at, Max Homa, defending champion of this event, was not at Quail Hollow, but he has won on this course back in 2019. And then at the President's Cup, he was a perfect 4-0 at Quail Hollow as well. So Homa's played this course extremely well. And then I'm going to throw Jason Day in here. Jason Day, I think I saw back in 2018, the only guy to give you 4 straight sub 70s. T9 in 2017, the PGA Championship. Now, hasn't done much as of late, Huss, but that's because his game has fallen off. His game is back. He's had success at this course in the past. You're getting him at 28-1. I mean, Hovland and Homer are some of my favorite guys. I get on them quite a bit, but Day this year has obviously got our respect with what he's been able to accomplish so far. So to see him at 28-1 with the way that he's playing right now, I had to have him on this card with Hovland and Homa.
You know what? I might have to throw a 20 on J-Day as well. I've hit him quite a bit so far this year, and he has been playing. I mean, he's
all around it, right? Like he's all around it. Yeah.
I think he's going to be a factor in the majors as well. And this will have a major feel to it. It's certainly a major caliber golf course that's hosted a bunch of majors before. And, we've got pretty much the best in the world that'll be playing at it. So it should be good. Again, that exclusives. Well, there's a bunch of exclusives focusing around the Canadians. But you know that we're loving the Greggy Golf Special this week. Vic Hovland and Cam Young, both to place top 20. That's at plus 365. A real nice number for the lock shoppers. Get in there on that and stay tuned for tonight's Ride with Dusty Oilers parlay.
I got to get back in the laboratory here and figure out where I'm going to go with this one. But we hit 2 in a row at the end of the series, then almost had 3, missing by Draisaitl point. So I'll see what I can put together tonight. Watch for that. It should be up early this afternoon. Lock Shop Play of the Day will be coming on all the Coolbet socials as well. The Lock Shop, as always, brought to you by our great partners at Coolbet. I've got some charity commitments over the next couple of days. We will have some picks tweeted out, obviously, from Huss and mine account and Lock Shop Bet. So we won't leave you in the dark. We just won't be able to bang out an episode on Thursday or Friday, but another busy week next week, obviously, with the Lock Shop, as we also creep closer to a CFL season. The draft behind us, Huss. It's almost time to be betting CFL football again, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Oh, we're betting every single game this year in the Lock Shop, and I can't wait.
It's going to be amazing. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.